Books on Books on the Brain.
Welcome back to Books on the Brain, a podcast of what? Books and
Books and
nonsense.
nonsense.
Danielle,
I'm Deirdre.
we're back again with another episode. No, thanks for yes and me. That was beautiful. Thanks, dude.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Anytime.
That was beautiful. Oh man. Um, how was your week? How's everything doing? How's everything in the East Coast?
Oh my gosh. Well, today was absolutely beautiful. It's been so humid. We've
Yeah.
had like nothing but rainy weekends. And today the humidity let up just a little bit. So it was like that really nice kind of summer day where like it's hot if you spend a
Yeah.
lot of time outside. Obviously, it's summer. But it's not oppressive. And that was really nice. But I
Ooh.
think we have a big rainy weekend ahead of us. I
No.
went to the movies and I saw Jurassic World Rebirth.
Dude, you're not gonna freaking believe it.
I'm
So did
sorry.
I.
Shut up.
I did.
Have I watched any
Okay.
other Jurassic Park movies?
Really?
Nope.
Not even the original trilogy.
Mm-mm. I've seen clips. Like I've seen clips of the first movie. I've never watched it the whole way through.
I have to say, this one that just came out is a good like starting point if you haven't, because it truly has nothing to do with any of the other other
Right.
movies at
I
all.
went with two of my friends and we were in the car going to the movie theater. And as we're pulling in, I was like, you know what? I've never watched a single, um, not one, Jurassic Park movie. And I don't know what this one's about or how it ties into the franchise. And somebody goes, does it? And I was like, that doesn't make sense.
Bode well for us. Uh-oh.
So, we were literally Googling how it tied into the franchise as we were walking into the movie theater. Just about how much I care about Jurassic Park, I think. But I was intrigued enough by this one. I've been like really enjoying going to the movies, so I was like, I kind of just want to go, you know? Like,
It was
whatever.
really fun. I thought it was fun. Like
I
I've
had
seen
fun. I had a lot
I've
of fun.
seen all of them. I thought Scarlett Johansson and Jonathan Bailey were both great.
I agree.
Um, it felt like a very succinct story. Like it was like
Hmm.
you kind of knew where it was going. You knew who was going to survive in the end and who wasn't.
Yep.
Um, but I thought it was fun. Yeah, it was a fun little jaunt. I I went with my family in Winnipeg. I went to
Hmm.
Winnipeg for like 10 days to visit my homeland. Just kidding, just Winnipeg. And I got to do some cool stuff. I was there, but we went to go see a movie. And we went on Cheap Tuesday, so the only place that was still available for six of us to sit next to each other was like the front row, which was
Mm.
fine. Just not my favorite place to sit.
No.
Um, but I got some garlic parmesan pretzel bites.
Ooh.
Oh, they were so good. And I look over. I have a little cousin who's 14 and I love her so dearly.
Mhm.
Um, but she's quite literally half my age. And sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, we're not that far in age. And then I'm like, oh yeah, we're really far in age. I look over, she's like on her phone, like scrolling, sleeping during the movie, and I'm like, girl, get off your phone right now. I know this is probably not the most exciting thing because you've also not seen any of the Jurassic Park movies, but I'm like, you
Who doesn't
gotta
like a dinosaur?
just fall asleep. Like, just fall asleep if you have to. Don't be on your phone.
A phone went off right before the movie started. And I turned to my friend. I was like, I can't do this. And then and it was behind us, and somebody from even farther back just screams down, turn that shit off. So loud. And it was
Crazy.
so funny. And we were all like, hell yeah.
See, that does not happen here. That's like,
That's Jersey, baby.
no, you'll get people being like, they'll look at you and maybe they'll go, but like no one's calling anybody out. So that's so funny. If someone said that to me, I'd probably start crying. I'd be like,
Yeah, but I don't think you would do it. I don't think you would
no, but
intentionally
if like
play something out loud on your phone in the middle of a movie theater.
Not on purpose.
Not on purpose.
Not on purpose. Oh man. Um, I was like, oh, I was gonna ask you a question, but then I was like, I'll save it for the podcast.
Yes.
You watched Drag Race.
I have not seen. I'm so behind. I haven't watched since the beginning of Bracket 3. I've seen the first episode of Bracket 3, and that's it.
Do
I
you know who
know.
wins?
Yeah,
Okay.
I was that got spoiled for me this morning.
Oh,
Um,
sorry. Uh,
but I mean, I haven't been trying to stay on top of it because I've been so one behind on reading, and I'm not even doing that. Um,
yeah, me too.
Watching Love Island and Gilded Age and The Bear. Oh,
Mhm.
I did watch The Bear.
Oh, I haven't watched The Bear yet. Try to catch up on Love Island. We just finished at Casa Amor.
Ooh.
So I'm trucking my way through it.
So you know about
I,
Nicolandria?
Nabahu?
Nicolandria?
Yes, I know about Calandria. Can we just talk about that for a second?
Yeah.
Not Nick, not not about Nicklandria. I would like
Okay.
to talk about Taylor
Okay.
and
Clark?
yes, and Olandria.
Uh-huh.
I always say her name wrong, so I have to take a second and be like, how do I say it? When he didn't pick Olandria, and I knew it was gonna happen. Girl, can you move? Thank you. I knew it was gonna happen too, because that had been spoiled for me. But I was like, she is so okay. And this is me knowing at this point. So if for some reason she's a bad person, you got to tell me. So I stopped saying she is so wonderful. She's so beautiful. I'm like looking at you for cues if I should shut up or not.
You're good.
And he is just like, I was like, you have no reason to be saying to pick Clark over her. Clark, I'm sure, is a very nice woman.
Clark has grown on me more and more
Okay.
over the rest of the season. But I had the exact same reaction
I
when
was like,
it aired.
and for all of the women to be like, he's nothing, he's nothing, he's nothing. And I'm like, that's a week ago, you're all like, couple goals. I'm like,
I know.
this is crazy. And the fact that at this point, Huda is still there
Yeah.
is, and the fact that the guy left Elandria to go be with Huda, I was like, that is, in that first recoupling, crazy. And we can talk about it now because I don't know when we're recording next. And hopefully I'll watch it by that point. But I was talking to Gabby about because I saw a spoiler that Sierra
Hmm.
gets taken home.
Yes.
Taken home. She gets taken out, sniper style.
Yes, we got taken out.
And apparently you can like hear in someone's diary.
In Alandria's.
She's just like scream. I'm like, I need to get to that one because
Yeah. I mean, blink and you miss it. Like you do have to turn the volume up. I didn't notice it the first time I watched that episode.
yeah,
They pointed it out on TikTok, and then I went and rewatched it. Like you do have to turn the volume up and pay attention.
just
Um,
I'll just blast it.
but yeah, you can hear it.
I'm not even like I don't know the ins and outs of the controversy yet. Like I have to do some research. 'Cause I haven't even gotten there in the
Oh.
show yet. I don't know what happened. I've been
So it
trying to
didn't happen on the show. It was
it was social media, right?
mhm.
Oh. People are you got to be careful. You got to be careful if you're a bad person.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked they're not vetting people meticulously.
Well, and Gabby and
Almost
I
like, and here's the thing, I'm like, it's clearly not that they don't care because they wouldn't have taken her and Yulissa off the show if they didn't.
and so quickly, they care a lot
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
Um
Well, and I was talking to my boss today, actually, because she watches Love Island too.
yeah,
We were talking about, like how quickly they took them off, like based on like how much the conversation was happening online and
yeah.
like how quickly like that happened. And I was like, I really wonder if Love Island, the corporation, the like entity worldwide, is becoming much more aware of what it is like for these people to leave the villa and come into a world where they
People
are
are,
suddenly the topic of conversation. They have no, and they've been in there for weeks. Like they had no way of knowing how long Yulissa was going to be on the show. And if Sierra had stayed, it seemingly seemed like she was going to stay for a while longer.
yeah,
Um, and the show does have a history of cast members unaliving themselves.
really.
Hmm. UK, like early seasons, there's several um, cast members. And,
Weesh.
and like that is it's a deep conversation,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah,
the way people's mental health is treated on these reality TV shows, how the media is very, very twisted over in England, like
yeah.
all of that. But I am sure that that is also part of the conversations that they are having. And I would be shocked if it wasn't,
Yeah, I feel like if it matters so much, they need to do a better job of vetting people then.
right?
And like I noticed on one of the episodes, it was like the key word here is love. We love everyone. No cyber stalking and bullying and all this stuff. Like these like PSAs that come out where I'm like, if you have fostered a community of your fans that is hateful, part of that is on you as a franchise.
Absolutely. Because at the root of the show, you vote for your favorite and least favorite.
Yes,
They
it's
even
as
have
you're judging people.
I kind of miss these challenges actually. I don't think you've gotten to the challenge where they kind of bring in like public opinion. I think that's coming up right after Casa.
Maybe. I probably fell asleep. So anyway, tell me.
They they've done different iterations of this challenge, and sometimes they'll do a couple of them over the course of the season. Especially when like it used to be Twitter was like really big
Yeah.
and involved. They would pull like tweets, and they'd have to guess who the tweet was about. Um, and it could be anything. And then the some of it was like headlines. Sometimes they would like find, different ways to get like what people were actually saying about them, like quotes from people,
Yeah.
bring them into the villa. I do kind of miss those because it would stir up drama
Of course.
much quicker than the way they they do it now.
Yeah.
Um, and it got them thinking about public opinion early,
Yeah.
and often.
And even just getting a temperature check where it's like, ooh, this is how I'm coming across. Let
Right.
me see if I can try to redeem myself.
And recently they've kind of started doing these like, I'll call them like a vibe challenge, where it's like, it's not a quote, but the outcome of like the round of the challenge lets you know like overall how the public is feeling about you. But now it's
Mm.
mostly based on like the votes that come in through
Mm.
the app. Um, and there's, I think, as far as like TV goes, it's great.
Of
Like
course.
it's great TV, but it also like does foster a community based on
What
a,
ideals you put, yeah.
you know. Sorry, I think I got bit by something and I've been scratching at it.
Oh no, a mosquito?
Maybe.
Oy, oy, oy. Well, I will keep you all updated on my Love Island journey. I'm hoping to finish this season sooner rather than later so I can go back and watch last season so that I can watch the spin-off show. That is what I'm hoping I can do because apparently last season everyone's telling me is really good. So,
It was very good. I still prefer UK. I haven't watched the last two UK seasons though. I did not like last season of UK. And I have not been watching this season because it's a lot to keep up with UK and US at the same time.
well, and I'm like, because usually I'm a Big Brother guy, right? Like I watch Big Brother in the summer. But I'm like, I don't know how people do both. I'm like, they like at least Big Brother is, I think it's only 4 times a week, 3 or 4 times a week. I can't remember. I think it's only Veto 3 times a week. It's 3 times a week. So, which I'm like, Big or Love Island is 5 times a week. I'm
Mhm.
like, that's crazy. I guess
Mhm.
it's a shorter amount of time though.
No, but UK is all summer.
My God.
UK is like 60, if not 60 plus episodes a season. It's
See,
half. The US is half the amount of time, which also I do think doesn't make for the best season in terms of like compared to other Love Island
yeah,
seasons
I
because
could
they
see
don't
that.
have as much time. And the now you got me on my Love Island pedestal.
That's okay.
Because it's shorter, you would
Yeah.
think they would be doing more with each day, like more challenges in a week, diversity in challenges. Like they'll do the little like beer pong ones or truth or dare or would you rather.
Yeah.
And then they'll also have their like big set piece challenges too.
Yeah.
But then they're also constantly sending people out on dates, opening the hideaway more. Like the fact that it wasn't until after Casa that the hideaway actually got
I was
opened.
gonna say I don't even know about the hideaway.
And you haven't even gotten there. The hideaway got opened at the beginning when Sierra came on. Remember, they got like invited
Yes.
to the hideaway for a night. But that's like once or twice it might be used that way to introduce a bombshell. It is a way for couples to connect. Now, I think there's a lot to be said about the fact that like most people weren't really serious in their couples, so maybe they were withholding the hideaway, but it didn't really seem that way.
Yeah.
Um, and there were couples that were pretty serious about each other. Like
They could
I
have sent Jeremiah and Huda in those first couple weeks.
exactly. Um, and the dates too, like sending
Yeah.
them out of the villa, they'll do like girls' days and guys' days, and they'll send like the whole group out of the villa, um, and like give them a chance to just like not. Um,
Fun.
and they like, it gets them talking about things that aren't just where they are. It's a temperature check for them. Um, and the fact that the season is shorter and we're not even getting like the same amount of stuff, and even the couples aren't getting the same amount of stuff. Like,
It, it
you
feels
know,
like it feels like they don't do a lot in a day. It's like they wake up, the boys make them breakfast, they sit by the pool, they pull people for chats, and then they go to bed.
breakfast has become such a huge thing.
I'm like,
I'm like, it's too much, you guys.
I love that men are like, this is the pinnacle of romance. I make her avocado toast and she loves me forever. I'm like, this is the
Please.
bare minimum. They're like watching a man come in and give all of the women coffees and the women being like, "Oh my God, this is so sweet. Thank you." I'm like, you obviously didn't grow up in a big family where you just when you make something for everybody.
Right. Also, I'm so picky, like about how I like my coffee, about how I like my
Yeah.
tea, that I'm like, if the seasoning is just off, or there's too much sugar, or not enough milk, like I'm, I,
Not a
it's
fun
gonna look
gesture
rude
either.
because
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like, I can't eat this.
This is actually garbage. Put it in the garbage,
And
please.
I'm being dramatic, but
No,
you
but
get the
I understand. I got it. I got it.
like sometimes I just like the way that I make stuff,
Well, yeah.
you
And
know?
and like yeah, I feel like this being my first season of Love Island, I'm like what I've learned is that uh one of the girls went into the pool with her heels on, which I thought was crazy. She just kept her
For
heels on.
fun.
It was one of the bombshells in Casa Amor. She just like kept her heels on. It was one she was someone talking to Nick and he was like, "Aren't you gonna take your shoes off?" She's like, "No, it's just easier to keep them on." So she just walked into the pool with her stilettos on and I was like, "This is
Oh, I missed that
crazy."
part. Oh
So I
no.
learned that girls keep their shoes on in the pool. I learned that uh if a boy doesn't make you breakfast, he hates your guts. And I also learned that But Amaya, it feels so passionately about everything, and I don't know why her mic is so hot constantly, but if there is a group scene, you can hear her yelling somewhere.
Yeah.
She is like when they were like when they sent or when they found out that Alandria and Nick had or whatever, something like that. She's like, no, 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 this is like she's just screaming, and I'm like, whoa, girl, chill out, chill out, girl. But I also get it. I get it.
I know.
Anyway, so that's please subscribe to our Love Island recap podcast.
Recap
Uh,
podcast.
where Deirdre has watched all of it. I am weeks behind and don't really know what's going on. Um, pinnacle of entertainment. Uh, speaking of pinnacle of entertainment, here we are today with another book report. Woo! You know them, you love them. Uh, each of us pick a topic or a news story or something that we research and we present to each other, like small children doing a book report in front of the class. Um, what is the vibe of your book report?
It's pretty neutral, if not like lighthearted, and I would like
Okay.
to go first
Okay.
if I
Look,
can if I can do it.
mine's icky, so yeah, you can go first.
Okay. Uh, so I was trying to think of topics ahead of time for this season. So let me set the scene. I wanted to try and like have a bank of ideas because what's happened in the past is we come to like 2 weeks before we're going to record a book report or the week before, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't have a topic. And then I spend days researching and I can't pick a topic. And I was like, I'm going to get ahead of it. I'm going to give myself a list of links and a list of ideas. And a lot of them have been kind of on the like neutral end of things. Like they're not really good or bad. They're just kind of like a story. Um, and I think that says a lot about where I'm at mentally.
Okay, fair, fair.
So as I'm on my little journey thinking about what I want to talk about this season, I started thinking about little free libraries and like what is the history of them. So this is going to be a little compilation from the Little Free Library website and this article by People and Company. And I'm just going to tell you all about how Little Free Libraries came to be because I feel like we see them around, but unless you actively engage with the lore of Little Free Libraries, you don't necessarily know where they came from or why they exist. So it's 2009. This person named Todd Bowl is from Hudson, Wisconsin, and he is trying to figure out how to pay tribute to his mother who has passed away. And he ends up building what would become the first little free library in the shape of a schoolhouse. His mother was a teacher who loved to read, and it's a little unclear how he got the idea to put the mini schoolhouse on a post and then create this idea that, like, if you leave a book, take a book. But that's what happened. And as it's told through interviews and the Little Free Library website, he watched as his neighbors began to interact more and more with this little street library. And like I said at the beginning, I got a lot of this information from the website and from this article with People and Company. And the article in particular talks about how this is not necessarily a new concept. Some coffee shops have similar ideas, and I started to go down the rabbit hole because I was like, well, what was the Little Free Library before Little Free Library? Not just like the institution of a library, like something community fostered. And I couldn't really find any straight answers. And, like I think of my own apartment building, we have a cute little book drop, and I put books down there all the time. I've gotten some really great books from there too. Like, it does inherently seem like communities that have people that like to read will figure out ways to just recycle books through the community. Um, And so let's go back to Todd. The thing that struck him was how this little library would become like a spot for the community. So people would stop in front of it, they'd admire it, and then look at the books. And it was on a street, so they would come across other people and they'd talk to them about it. And like, oh, what a great idea! Or like, oh, have you read this book that's in here? Or like, someone would pull a book out. It's like, oh my gosh, I loved that book so much, and it started community building. So Todd ends up connecting with this guy named Rick Brooks, and they start thinking about how they can grow Little Free Library beyond Todd's lawn. And he actually started building them and sending them to people. So for the first couple of years, it was like mostly done by Todd and Rick. And then they became inspired by Andrew Carnegie because he had a goal at the turn of the 20th century to fund the creation of 2,508 free public libraries. And the quote I pulled from this said, across the English speaking world. So I don't necessarily know what that entails. Like if
Yeah,
he
what does
went
that
like
mean?
I don't know if he like is responsible for funding libraries in Canada or in Europe or just like in the US. Like I'm not really sure. But he did. He funded a ton of public libraries.
Cool.
And so their goal was to get 2,508 little free libraries out in the world by 2013. So by 2010, the name Little Free Library was established, and the purpose of these Little Free Library book exchanges became clear, which was to share good books and bring communities together. And that's it. So as Todd and Rick continued to give away Little Free Libraries, they had little wooden charter signs engraved with official charter numbers, and the curiosity and demand for these libraries grew more and more. And then social media started to drive more attention. They also got picked up on other media sites. They also got some small grants and informal partnerships. So, they're starting to grow outside of the Midwest and people are starting to pay attention. By the end of 2011, there were nearly 400 little free libraries in existence. And when we say that, I mean the ones that are registered with Little Free Library. So like I don't think they're going to come after you if you just like put up a Little Free Library, but if you want it to be considered a actual Little Free Library, it needs to be registered with Little Free Library. Take a drink every time I say Little Free Library.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
So their goal was to get 2,508 Little Free Libraries out out and about by the end of 2013. Can you guess how many were registered by the end of 2012?
5,000.
You're close.
Really?
Over 4,000. So,
That's amazing.
like, that's such a huge jump from 2011.
Yes.
You know? Um, so jump to 2014, and Rick retired from Little Free Library. The organization continued to grow and receive national media attention. In 2015, Little Free Library was awarded the Library of Congress Literacy Award for its effective
Uh,
implementation of best practices in literacy and reading promotion. They also got a bunch of other awards from other large institutions over the years. By 2016, more than 50,000 Little Free Libraries had been installed in all 50 US states and 70 countries.
that's
So
amazing.
it's like reached global status at this point. And Little Free Libraries Impact Library program also launched that year, granting no-cost libraries full of books to high-need communities. On October 8th, 2018, Todd did pass away shortly after the organization celebrated the landmark 75th thousandth literal free library, or
Wow.
75,000th. Um, on the website, it says, I'm going to try not to cry when I read this because I've been feeling very emotional lately. He remained dedicated to Little Free Library's mission in his last days, saying, I really believe in a little free library on every block and a book in every hand. Whoa! I believe people can fix their neighborhoods, fix their communities, develop systems of sharing, learn from each other, and see that they have a better place on the planet to live. How freaking cute.
God, what the heck? So sweet.
So if you build your own little free library, which about 70% of people do, so they say, you register at littlefreelibrary.org, you get a charter sign with a unique number that you can put on your little free library, and you also get a steward's guide, which gives you advice and best practices for how to get your community involved. You also get this little informational piece of paper that you can put inside your little free library that shares how it works with people. Because there are plenty of people that still haven't come across them and they're like, wait, is this for real? Like, I can take it for
Literally, yeah.
free? Like, do I need to bring it back? Do you want me to bring a different book? And it kind of explains, how it works. Um, when they get their little free library, it gives them ideas of like having a grand opening to get the community involved and how to get books if you need them and different ways to get free or reduced cost books to sort of keep the library stocked.
Cute.
Another resource they offer for folks who can't afford to get a little free library is the Impact Library Program, which I mentioned really briefly, which is where people can fill out an application and they give away little free libraries at no cost.
Wow.
They also have an online store. So some people like to build their own little free libraries, and all of them are so unique. There was this photo of this one that was like built into a tree. I was like, oh my God, that's so beautiful. Um, and people create all these different ideas like based on their community. That's kind
Yeah,
of how people, it doesn't have to just be like a square box that looks like a house. Like
yeah.
people have built them in all different shapes and sizes and things like that. Uh, but they also have an online store where you can buy a pre-made little free library that's already registered or they can buy a kit to help build their own. So if you need like supplies and stuff. And this helps get libraries out into the world and also fund Little Free Library because it is a nonprofit. And at the time that People and Company article was written, which was in 2019, I think, there were 12 people working at the headquarters in Wisconsin.
Well,
As of 2022, there were 150,000 registered Little Free Libraries.
whoa.
And that is a little TLDR, the history of the Little Free Library.
Wow. I wonder how many little free libraries came about because of COVID.
Great question.
I would be curious to see like those statistics because I feel like that's when I started seeing so many more of them popping up was when people
Same.
couldn't go places. Or yeah, that would be so interesting to see. That's so sweet. I most of the something I didn't really notice until I noticed was that most elementary schools will have a little free library in the front of like their front
Yeah.
lawn. So, um,
No, like I used to drive past one all the time
yeah.
in my town, and it wasn't until I clocked that there was a Little Free Library in front of it that I was like, oh my God.
And I'm like, it's so wonderful for kids. Like I'll see kids looking at through them so often, and I'm like, good. This is good for you.
There's one kind of near my apartment actually, which is so cute. And I love that it gets stocked with both kids and adult books.
Nice.
Every once in a while, somebody throws a little board game in there, or like a card game that they want to, like Cards Against Humanity was in there one time. And just, it's like a little cozy community sharing place.
So nice. So sweet. Great job.
Thank you. I like that it feels like a no pressure thing too, because like
Yeah.
I will go there with like a stack of books and just fill up the library, but not take anything. And then on one of my walks, I'll randomly be like, let me go see like what's in the library today, and I'll
Yeah.
find a gem.
It's that like reciprocity thing where it's like I'll give something and then I'll take something and it'll balance itself out, which is kind of cool.
Yeah,
Hello, sweet girl.
not for free.
Not for free, girl. Okay. All right. Here we go. Here's mine.
Let me get relaxed.
Jeez Louise. Okay. I'm workshopping the title. I think this is called Uh, Worst thing that could ever happen to me ever. I think that's what
Whoa.
this is called.
Okay.
As a book lover. All right.
All right.
And me specifically with some of my fears. All right. So, on top of a hill in northwestern Hungary is the Pannonhalma Archabbey, which is a monastery which was founded in 996. Now, I don't know if it's CE or BCE, and quite frankly, uh, I don't want to know because that really confuses me, and I've made a conscious effort to not learn the difference. And that's me being very vulnerable. Me taking archaeology, anthropology, sociology, geography, all these things where I'm like, I needed to know the difference. And I actively was like, I cannot learn this. This is beyond the scope of my brain
I think
capacity.
BC and BCE are the same thing. And then
Well, they say they don't use BC and BC. They use like before Common Era and
yeah.
Common Era now.
Oh, right. They don't use AD anymore.
No, yeah. Or would. Anyway, like I feel my blood pressure rising when I have to, and I didn't. I was like, note to self, go back and I didn't. So I'm gonna keep moving on. Canadian, one of Europe's oldest and most valuable libraries, with over 400,000 volumes,
Look at us with a theme.
some dating back to 13th century.
Wow.
The Arch Abbey holds medieval manuscripts, a 13th century Bible, a hand-bound pre-print pre-printing press works, all integral to Hungary's religious and scholarly legacy. Um, and basically, the monastery must treat all its possessions as sacred because it's like this religious institution and then also a library, which I'm like, as they should. Um, so basically, they have a huge commitment to the preservation of these books, which leads me to this awful news story I saw while in the elevator at my mom's apartment building that made me want to scream. And now I have to share it with you guys.
Can't wait.
Recently, a severe infestation was discovered during routine cleaning. It's bugs. Uh, Tiny beetles, specifically drugstore beetles, known for feeding on grains and paper-based adhesives, have invaded sections of the library holding about 100,000 books. The library director, Ilona A, last name, Hungarian, can't say that, said basically the books that even if the books were replaceable, their cultural value are not, right? Because of the fact that it's this monastery or this arch abbey, they have this like religious duty as well as a cultural duty for these books, which is
Yeah.
crazy. So this is why they think this is happening. Experts suspect rising temperatures are helping the beetles thrive and reproduce faster, turning what was a manageable problem into a large-scale threat. So if you Google it, it is crazy. They have these books, like basically what they had to do is they removed the 100,000 books and placed them in a nitrogen-filled, oxygen-free bag for 6 weeks to eradicate the pests,
Hmm.
which maybe you know more about, but it is like these books like just these photos of this like beautiful abbey stone, so like old and gorgeous, and then these like bags, these like plastic things covering these shelves, and I'm like, this is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Following the fumigation, each book is thoroughly inspected, cleaned, and any damage addressed through restoration. They hope to reopen the library early next year. Yet this incident serves as a warning about climate change and how pests are becoming a bigger problem because climate change is allowing them to breed quicker and faster. And so then I'm in the picture me. I'm in my mom's elevator going up to her apartment. I'm seeing this on the little TV screen. this news article. And then I'm like panic spiraling because I'm like, I know the book lice is a problem. I know
Hmm.
the book bugs are a problem. I it makes me so uncomfortable to think about. I think it does I don't think that's like a unique thought, but got me on the rabbit hole of like, okay, what would you do
Uh-huh.
in your own collection if you had an infestation? So here we go. This is a book riot article about it. And I was like, the
Nice.
girls who get it.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, book lace or books are surprisingly appetizing for certain bugs. And they're talking specifically about silverfish, which are the most horrendous, heinous, criminal, ugly. I hate those bugs.
I hate them.
I hate them. So silverfish, book lice, which is like bed bugs, like head lice, but they live in books. And I'm like, because anyone who knows me knows lice is my biggest fear. Cockroaches, carpet moss, never heard of those, or even beetle larvae, which sounds like what was in the infestation in this monastery. Basically, the pests are attracted to the paper and the binding and the glue, and in some cases, mold, which is a whole other problem you need to be worried about with books, which I'm like, God, what if I just want to collect books? What if I just wanted to collect books, you know?
No.
Um, okay. So here's the best strategy of stopping bugs before they move in. One, keep your books off the floor, which is not currently happening in my apartment. Shelves should be at least a few inches high. Okay, check. No. Oops. Avoid storing books in damp or dusty spaces like basements and closet. Oops, I live in a basement apartment. Uh, bedrooms aren't ideal either. Bugs love cozy places. At least
Yeah.
mine's not in a bedroom.
Oh, no, mine are.
Uh-oh. And don't forget regular dusting. It helps keep pests and mold away.
I
You
need to
know
do
the
that.
last time these books have seen a duster is when I packed them up to move them.
Right.
Um, I'm not dusting my bookshelf often. Uh-oh, exposed. Um, okay, so here's a rising trend among book lovers and even museums, which is freezing your books. So
Oh,
you
yeah.
can pop your book in a plastic bag, push out the air, and freeze it for at least 48 hours. The cold kills insects and their eggs and can stop mold in its tracks. It's a chemical-free method that's safe and surprisingly effective.
You can do the same thing to your clothes.
Yes, I've heard about doing it with your jeans from thrift stores. Um, and I think that's part of what they're doing in the Abbey is some of the fumigating and then I assume some of the I
Temperature.
don't actually know. I shouldn't say that, but I feel like I imagine they'll do
That's
stuff like
pretty standard practice
that.
in most museums is to have a temperature switch.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Okay, fair. Okay, so one thing to note, when removing your book from the freezer, let it thaw while still sealed to avoid condensation. So don't take it out of the bag. Keep it in the bag and let it thaw out, and then you can take your book out. Um,
Interesting.
and basically, if you're buying secondhand books, dealing with a damp house, or just wanting to protect your collection, grab a freezer bag and take a chill route to bug-free reading, which is crazy. But having to like the amount of Reddit threads I came across of people being like, I have a bug infestation in my I'm like, my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. It I feel like you would know because it's like there's actually like bookworms and like what was really interesting was this definition of bookworms actually entails a lot of different bugs and it's like more of like a umbrella term, a bookworm, rather than like worms that live in books.
Right.
Um, but like there's some that like just eat pages. Like people open books and it's like chunks of their books are gone, and I'm like, that's crazy. That's crazy. So I hope the monastery does well. Hope they get
Uh-huh.
their books in order. They're very culture significant books.
They're gonna be
And
fun.
I hope I never have this problem because if I do, you'll never see me again.
No,
I'll
my
have to
whole
lay it in
collection
a
is
field
gone.
somewhere, lay myself down. Anyway, that's my book report. Nice, short, and sweet.
Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, I remember somebody posted about book lice, like early days of book talk, and I've thought about it ever since, and it has haunted me.
It seems like it's very much like in older books,
Hmm.
and you would notice, like, if your books are musty or like damp,
Right.
which I'm like, I hope mine aren't. I'm
I
like, how
know.
would I know? How would I know if they were? Um, but yeah, that's I feel like a lot of book lovers' biggest fear is like I go out of my way of collecting old books because I like old books, but then the old books can ruin all my other old books. This is awful news for everybody.
Yeah,
Um, that's that.
that's
That's
that.
that. What
Yeah.
you reading?
Um, so famously, I really have not been reading this summer. I feel so, I brought this giant stack of books back to my parents' house for the summer with me, and I've barely touched it.
That's okay.
But I am listening to, I know I talked about in a recent episode, Darkwater Daughter,
Yep.
and I started Black Tide Sun, so I'm rereading Black Tide Sun. Uh, and I really like it.
Yes.
I quite like, I know we had talked about this, how like the pacing of Black Tide Sun wasn't necessarily your, or at least the beginning of it wasn't your favorite thing.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't know if it's because it is the pace that I'm reading it at, it is a manageable pace for me.
Yeah.
Um, or if because it's a second time through, I'm kind of loving this like slower pace and it's starting to pick up now where we are. Um, I am just really enjoying it. I love being back in Hannah's world and with Mary and Sam. And this book, what I think Hannah does particularly well, because I know I've talked in the past about how one of my biggest pet peeves when it comes to fantasy books is an author sets a world expectation in the first book and then goes too wide in the second book, and it's really hard to like grasp. And I
Yeah.
feel like she set expectations really well in the first book because
Yeah.
it took place across a bunch of different places. We got introduced to a bunch of different cultures and people, and the
We
like,
know about conflict.
yeah,
There's a world happening outside of the character's world, which is
exactly.
good.
And the things that are happening to them, they constantly bring up the things that are happening in the world around them that could affect what's happening to them.
Yep.
Um, and so getting to then expand the world where we're seeing more of that impact. And we're getting introduced to new cults and people and um, ways of thinking. I just think her like pacing of not only her books but of her worlds is really great. Um, and I'm just having a blast. Put
Love.
my audiobook on when I drive to work in the morning and
Good one.
I'm in a pirate ship.
You're with Mary and Sam on the
Yeah.
seven seas. Or however many seas are in this world, I don't know.
I actually don't know. What are
Uh,
you reading?
Famously, I am also in the middle of many books. I did finish Blood Over Bright Haven. Finished it for my book club.
Do you have the hardcover, by the way?
Of course I do.
Ugh. I went
It's
to buy it last week, but it was only in paperback, and I really didn't like how the paperback looked. So I have to try and hunt down a hardcover
the
copy.
reason I say of course I do is because my older sister bought us all hard and I'm like, she's rolling in the dough. I'm like, of course. Um, but I finally finished it. Ooh, boy. That is sad book. It is sad. It is good book. It is sad book. I sad when read book. So sad. Um, it is a it was really really good. I love standalone fantasies. I feel like I often end up reading series more because that's just like kind of what there's more saturation. Something about a standalone fantasy where I'm like, I just loved it. Um, and as a like romantic, the end of the book sucked. And I was like,
Um,
no, I didn't get my. And why I say that is because in romance, often a happy ending is guaranteed, is why I like romance books. 'Cause I'm like, no one's gonna get hurt. They're all gonna like, yes, there's gonna be some like, will they, won't they? But they will always, will they at the end.
mhm.
I don't want to spoil it, but like, but it was so good and it was for exactly the right reasons. And I was like, of course it happened this way. The characters have such integrity, of course. Oh, it was so good. I really, really liked it. But then my book club got delayed, so we still haven't discussed it. So I've just been sitting on a secret this whole week. I'm reading that. I'm almost done the audiobook for uh Everything is Tuberculosis. I've been slowly pitching my way through that.
Yeah.
Uh it's it's really good. I just read a chapter um that was like World War I happened because of tuberculosis. And I was like, huh? What? John Green? Wait a minute. I don't think that's true. But it was because the people who assassinated Archduke Franz Ferdinand
Hmm.
all had consumption, all had tuberculosis. And they
Yeah.
were like, yeah, I guess we can just do like, we have no reason to live. And I was like, hey, the title's right. Everything is
Everything
tuberculosis, John
is
Green.
tuberculosis.
Whoa, whoa, dude. So I'm reading that, and then I also happen to know that we are both reading a book right now called
We
The
are.
Princess Knight by Kate Jacobs. We are. Um, and I'm really liking it.
Me too.
It's really fun.
I like that you brought it up. I was gonna keep it a secret.
Oh, well, people will forget by the like
Yeah.
forget about it, but don't because you actually
Don't.
pre-order it because the book is really freaking good.
It's really good.
I love and I'll have to bring this up someday when I have a conversation with Kate someday about this book, I'm sure. I'll have to bring it up. Um, but I love that throughout the book I can be like, this dress needs to seal the deal. I can like exactly where the songs in the musical fit into the plot beat by beat. Like
Yeah.
I'm not very far into it. I just got to the part where the prince and here's the thing. Everyone's names. I'm constantly
Oh,
having to
even
flip it back.
with my own Celtic name, I'm like, you're D and you're R.
But yes, the main character, C.
Clea,
Literally,
I can do. Clea, I can do.
yeah, okay.
Um,
But when Prince D is like, I'm gonna need somebody serious, son of Marilyn Monroe, Jackie. I was like, I love this. This is my kind of book. This is so fun. I'm like, I just get to sing my little musical theater songs as I read this honestly really fun fantasy book.
I
Um,
know.
I'm loving it. I'm having a hoot and a holler time.
Me too.
Hoot and a holler
I'm
time.
loving it.
Anyway, that's our show. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. Boo.
Okay. Forgot that I do the outro.
It's okay. I was like, I could try it. After years of hearing you do it, I'm like, I could probably do 60% of it.
You want to try?
Yeah. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Books on the Brain. Um, you could do a lot of things. You could go to our YouTube channel. You could follow us there.
Yeah.
You could subscribe. You could like. You could comment. You could go to any podcasting platform, and you could listen, and you could like, and you could follow. And also, you should go to our Instagram, and you could follow us. And you know what you should do? You should leave a bug emoji.
Not
The
the spider,
grossest
please.
the grossest bug emoji that you can find to let us know that you made it this far in the episode. If you have not already, please make sure you are following us. This is the part I remember you saying. This is the part where I have to zone back in and pay attention. Um, if you haven't already, make sure you're following us on all podcasting platforms. And if you want to follow us on our own independent journeys, you can find us. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok and Threads at DJ Books.
And I am at Deirdre Rose Morgan on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Bindery.
And we'll chat to you next time. Bye.
Bye. That was so good.
Something.